The history of mummies dates back to thousands of years to ancient civilizations like the Egyptians. Mummification was a process used to preserve the bodies of the deceased as they believed in an afterlife. Mummification was a complex and lengthy process reserved primarily for the elite and the pharaohs. These mummies were placed in ornate coffins and buried in elaborate tombs filled with treasures to accompany them in the afterlife. Interestingly, mummies aren't just limited to Egypt. Various other cultures around the world, like the Incas in South America and the Chinchorro people in South America, also practiced mummification. Each civilization had its unique methods and reasons for preserving their deceased. The mummification process.
Mummification was developed by the ancient Egyptians to preserve the body for the afterlife. Before mummification, all internal organs, except the heart, were usually removed. But in this case, the heart was removed, leaving the lungs in place. The body was then covered with salt and left for 40 days until all moisture was absorbed. Then, fragrant oils and plant resins were rubbed into the body. Thick layers of resin were applied to glue the linen strips wrapped around the body. The mummy was placed on top of a piece of timber and secured in place by wrapping it with more strips.
Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut, was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh who ruled during the 14th century. What makes King Tut so fascinating is that his tomb was discovered almost intact in the Valley of the Kings in 1922. This discovery by Howard Carter provided a wealth of information about ancient Egyptian culture and history. Tutankhamun ascended to the throne at the young age of 9 or 10, and his reign was relatively short. Ramses II. Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great, was one of ancient Egypt's most powerful and celebrated pharaohs. He reigned from 1279 to 1213 BC during the New Kingdom period. Ramses II is often considered one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs due to his military achievements, architectural projects, and long reign of 66 years. Ramses II's mummy was discovered in 1881, and his preservation allowed researchers to study his physical features and gain insights into ancient Egyptian embalming techniques. It should also be noted that Ramses II had about 100 children. Zinju. Zinju, or Han Dynasty's Lady Dai, was a prominent figure in ancient Chinese history. She lived during the Han Dynasty, specifically during the Western Han period from 206 BC through 9 AD. Zinju is famous for her remarkably well-preserved tomb and the wealth of artifacts found inside of it. Her tomb was discovered in 1971. Rosalia Lombardo. Rosalia Lombardo was an Italian child who passed away at the age of 2 in 1920. She is famous for being one of the best preserved mummies in the world. The result of Salafia's embalming technique is an incredibly lifelike appearance for Rosalia Lombardo. Her skin still retains its natural color, and her facial features are well preserved. This has led to her being referred to as the Sleeping Beauty, or the world's most beautiful mummy. Thuya's origins are not entirely clear, but she likely came from a noble family. Thuya is best known for the exquisite funeral items found in her tomb. The walls of her burial chamber were decorated with beautiful paintings depicting scenes from the afterlife and offerings to the god. Thuya lived during the 14th century BCE. The youngest mummy ever discovered is that of an unidentified stillborn baby known as the Detmold child. The mummy was found in 1930 in Detmold, Germany, and is estimated to date back to the Greco-Roman period, about 100 BCE to 200 BCE. The world's oldest mummy is known as Otzi, the Iceman. Otzi was discovered in 1991 in the Alps between Austria and Italy, and he is estimated to have lived around 3,300 BCE during the Copper Age. Otzi's body was naturally preserved in the ice, allowing scientists to study his remains in great detail. Otzi is currently on display at the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy. The excavation of mummies and ancient human remains is a complex and regulated process that depends on various factors, including the country where the mummy is discovered and the laws and regulations governing archaeological research and cultural heritage preservation in that specific region. In most cases, the excavation of mummies and human remains is carried out by professional archaeologists and researchers who have obtained the necessary permits and permissions from the relevant authorities. These permits are typically granted by government agencies responsible for cultural heritage and archaeology, such as national or regional museums, archaeological departments, or cultural heritage ministries. The excavation of mummies is often conducted for scientific purposes, aiming to gain knowledge about ancient civilizations, human history, and cultural practices. Such research can provide valuable insights into the past and contribute to our understanding of human development and cultural diversity. However, it is crucial to note that the excavation and handling of human remains are subject to ethical considerations, and many countries have specific guidelines and regulations in place to ensure respectful treatment of the deceased and cultural sensitivity. These regulations may include requirements for proper documentation, conservation, and reburial of human remains. It is essential that professional archaeologists and researchers follow these regulations and guidelines to ensure that the excavation and study of mummies are conducted ethically and with the utmost respect for the cultural heritage and human dignity involved.